All right, so we're back. We had a little blip in the radar, but welcome back,
Doesn't.
Jason.
Thanks.
Um, cool. We're gonna move on here. We covered the first two rounds. Actually, here's the question though for round two. Who is the biggest reach and who is the biggest steal? So let's start with steal. Who do you think is like you would absolutely draft them at this spot in round two?
Mike Trout.
Mike
It's
Trout.
it's got to be Mike Trout. Yeah. Same conversation as Juan Soto. Like if
Okay.
he's there in middle of the second round, yeah, I'm doing a handstand.
Okay. Cool. Um, I'm torn between two first basemen here. Um, I think I'm gonna go Goldschmidt. If Goldschmidt is around at 29, I'd be doing a handstand because that's end of the first round, and this guy was unworldly.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good call. Do you think he's where is he with Vladimir Freeman? Like, is that the right order?
Um, I mean we've got Pete in there also, who I'd happily
Yeah,
grab at this, and Austin Riley. Like this is obviously a stacked round for these corner infielders that we talked about earlier. Um, I don't I
Devers.
think they're kind of interchangeable at this point. Like it's a like what you said earlier. It depends on what you're looking for at the like if you want power, you go Vlad, you go Pete. If you want contact and batting average and runs, like you go
Freeman
Goldschmidt,
or
you go
Goldschmidt?
Freeman. So it depends what you want. And then Austin
Yeah,
Riley can give you a little bit of all of that also. So I don't know. But if Goldschmidt is there at the end of the
yeah.
round,
That's a good call.
100% I'm in.
Yeah.
Um, and who is an absolute reach? Like you would not be caught drafting this player at their current ADP.
Um, we talked about Tatis. He's definitely somebody that I would not be drafting at 22. Um, and Spencer Strider, I think also is a reach. Just because you're chasing one season,
Yeah.
and it's just I just you don't know he can come back out and just be a middling rotation guy. Like just
Yep.
so yeah, I think those two. Look, even Real Muto. I mean,
Yeah.
is 25th too high for a catcher? I mean, he's the best catcher, but I feel like maybe that's a reach.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree with you completely. Like we've seen Real Muto do what he did last year, but we've also seen him go what 15 home runs and 12 stolen bases and like why in the second round? I mean, yeah, you're gonna get steals at the catcher position, but is it worth spending this much? I
Last
don't
year in the bigs, he was drafted in the fifth round
yeah.
at the end of the fifth round.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Um I'm gonna go my reach here is Michael Harris. I don't necessarily believe it enough yet for middle of the second round.
it's a good one.
I can he go like can I see him going 30-30 this year, with a full season under his belt? Sure, like in that stacked lineup. But like again, I think that I would need to see it again. And if I see it again, absolutely I'll draft him in the first or second round next year. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's too soon for me.
yeah. That's a
Um,
good call.
all right, round three. Here we go. Jacob deGrom at 33, Francisco Lindor 34, Jordan Romano 35, Marcus Semien 36, Brandon Woodruff 37, Shane McClanahan 38, Aaron Nola 39, Randy Arozarena 40, Nolan Arenado 41, Dalton Varsho, the second catcher off the board at 42, Devin Williams and Ryan Presley at 43 and 44. Jose Altuve at 45, Matt Olson 46, Cedric Mullins 47, and finally Justin Cy Young Verlander on the Mets at 48. Thoughts on round three?
Wow. Yeah, definitely a lot more pitchers coming off the board here.
Hmm.
Like you mentioned, I mean, only five came off the first two rounds, so you kind of would imagine that, they'll be starting to pick up some more here in these next few rounds. Um, yeah, so lots of pitchers and Dalton Varsho.
Yeah.
Uh, wow, like I don't get me wrong, I love me Dalton Varsho, especially now in that Blue Jays lineup, but wow.
Yeah.
I did not think that he'd be going in the third round.
No. Dalton Varsho, earliest pick is pick 24. Latest pick in these NFBC drafts is 92.
That's a
So like,
spread.
yeah, talk about a wide range.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think that it's a little bizarre to me that like you had mentioned the second round was a little volatile. Like there's high risk, high reward, and like some actually like serious risk in that second round and like huge question marks. In this third round, I feel like besides Varsho and maybe a Rosarena, like this is a really solid, reliable group of like veteran
Yes.
substars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if you missed out on one of those superstars from the first two rounds, like you're okay with this group of guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just interesting to me that this is round three and not round two. They're not like flip-flopped, but
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good call.
um
I mean, like Nolan Arenado, like is in the middle of the third round. Like I, that I feel like he could go higher than that.
yeah, especially given I think he will go higher than that given the run of corner infielders that I think is going to happen and the fact that after Arenado at third base, like it's kind of slim pickings.
Yeah.
You'd have to sort of wait a little bit to get your next third baseman.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on DeGrom falling to the third round? Do you feel like this move to Texas is, gonna hurt his value? Do you feel like he's gonna give a full, 180 or 160 innings this year?
He is such a mystery right now. Like
Yeah,
he went in the third round last year in the bigs.
but he was hurt to
Um
start the season last year.
you're right, right. And he was supposed to come back early and he didn't come back until, mid-season. So or close to the back end of the season. So um is he healthy? I think he's another one where spring training is going to really impact his ADP.
Yeah,
If we go into camp and he's throwing darts and he's looking like the DeGrom of old, he's going to go up to at least a second round.
yeah,
But I think right now you have to be a little cautious with him.
yeah,
New digs. He is a tough case. He's a tough
yeah.
case. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's January 13th. Like we still have time. I'm sure myself and everyone else in the world is just dying to see this guy like just get out there and throw and see what he looks like. But you can make the argument that Jacob deGrom is the number one pitcher. I mean, he has the best stuff in baseball, but
Absolutely.
you can make the argument of taking him over Corbin Burns in a
If
fantasy
if
draft.
if you tell me that I'm guaranteed to get 180 innings out of DeGrom, I absolutely take him over any other pitcher.
Yes.
100%. Like,
Great.
yeah, he's better than Burns, better than Cole, better than Alcantara. Yeah, 100%. But it's that unknown. You again, it's a high risk, really high reward.
Yeah. And I don't really know much, but does the Texas ballpark, do you think that hurts his value? Is it kind of a wash?
I think it tends to be a little more hitter friendly.
Yeah.
Um, but I think when you're somebody like DeGrom, I don't know if that really plays.
Yeah.
Like if DeGrom is the DeGrom that we know, he could pitch on the moon and be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That is good. I mean, I would take him if he pitched for the moon. Um, no gravity, DeGrom, like that's unhittable. Um,
Right?
what are your thoughts here? I'm gonna kind of change gears for a second, but Marcus Simeon at 36. is going off the board for NFBC as the first second baseman over Altuve, who is going all the way at 45. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good call. I feel like you could do fine with either one. I mean, Simeon's got he'll lose. No, I think will he have shortstop eligibility in 2023? I don't remember.
That is a
I
good
mean
point.
that I mean you're splitting hairs at that point, I guess.
Right,
Um,
right.
he will have shortstop eligibility in 2023. I I could see it going in this order. I don't know if I would go with this order. Um, I feel like Simeon is just very inconsistent. He's had,
Mm,
obviously 2021 was a magnificent season for him, but he's also had some really bad years.
yeah,
2022 was kind of like in between, I feel like.
yeah,
Altuve, you know what you're going to get with Altuve.
yeah,
Like he's as consistent as it gets. So I'd probably go with Altuve first, but I could see Simeon going ahead of him.
yeah. And if I remember to last year's draft, I got Altuve pretty late at like a really, really high value. Um, I don't know why he had fallen so far, but I
You got
he
him
had
in
money.
round 6.
Yeah, this is round 3. This is like you really
And you know
have to
what?
pay up.
The year before, if I'm not mistaken, I got him in round 8. So
Yeah,
he has kind of this tendency to fall to like the first third of the draft there. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes this year.
yeah. I also think it's a testament to like how thin second base is right now, and I think
Yeah,
that that sort of boosts his value just as standalone. Um, but to draft based on position scarcity this early in the draft is scary, and I don't know if that's a strategy you want to take on in round 3, but I don't know. We've got a couple other closers here. We've got Devin Williams,
Jordan Romano,
Jordan Romano,
Ryan
to
Presley.
Ryan Presley. These are guys that you can rely on. They don't have competition in their role right now. They play for winning teams. So, and Devin Williams, we talked about his ridiculous strikeout rate also last year. So, um,
But like he also though like other than that brief stint at the end of last year after Hader got traded, he's never really had that closer role before. So we
yeah,
don't really know like
it's
is he
true.
not everybody's cut out to be the ninth inning guy.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see how he fares in the first month or two of the season if he's really meant to be that eighth inning guy or if he can step up and be a closer.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. One more big question about this round before we pick our reaches and steals. Last year, you and I were both totally out on this guy, Randy Arozarena. This year, do you buy in the third round?
I mean, I know Joe is like in love with this guy because he's your best bet for a 2020 season. Um I could see him going in the third round. I can see it. I don't know if I'm confident enough in him
Mhm,
to pick him that
mhm.
early, but I also know that if I don't, I'm not getting him.
Right.
So, but I feel like there's enough players like him in that with that same skill set where I'd be okay missing out on Rosarena.
Yeah.
Great talent, but he's not, you know, he's not special.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting too because his numbers right here from 2022 are almost identical to Bobby Witt in that it's the 20 home runs, the 30 steals, the
Yep.
average batting average in the 260s, 250s. Um, High strikeout rate, not a ton of walks. Um, it's interesting like comparing the two, and Bobby Witt is going 7th overall, and here's a Rosarena in the middle of round 3 at 40 with
Yeah.
almost identical stats.
And I guess maybe it speaks to the position, right?
Yeah.
Like, because outfield, I mean, left field is kind of a bit of a black hole, but
Yeah.
right field is pretty deep.
Yeah.
Whereas, third base and shortstop, not so much. Again, we talked about how I think seven overall was a reach for wit, but
Yes.
it's
Yes.
a good, very good, it's a good comp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, big standouts as far as steal for you in this draft.
Um, I think it's Arenado. If I'm
Okay.
getting Arenado towards the end of the third round, again with the lack of third base options after this, like yeah, I'd be very happy to get him in the third round.
Yeah, agreed. I think I'll go with I think I'll go with Cedric Mullins here. I think I'll be really happy if I can grab him at the end of the third, very end of the third, almost fourth round. Um,
Wow.
in I know. But I didn't like him where he was going in last year's draft, which was like end of the first round. Um, and I'm glad I didn't like him there because he didn't perform to that last year. But
No.
Baltimore is getting better and better. He's hitting at the top of that lineup. The stolen base numbers, we all know what's going to happen to steals this year with the new rules and the bases and the
Yeah.
pickoffs and the pitcher clock. Like I could see him hitting 20 home runs and stealing 40 bases. And for me, getting that at the end of round three, like I'll take that all day. So,
Yeah. That's a good call.
biggest reach for you, who would you not draft at this current ADP?
So we mentioned his name, Dalton Varsho. It's interesting because like I could see it because like catcher and outfield eligibility is like that's a rare breed.
Yeah.
And he can hit and he's and now he's with the Blue Jays. I don't know if he's worth a third round pick. I don't know if he's made it to that level just yet. Like he has the potential, but I feel like that's just a little bit of reach. I think you're looking for that eligibility.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right there with you. But to give a different opinion, because I probably would have gone with that also, but um, this is the only time I'm going to complain about him. Matt Olson. I don't want him this year. The guy struck out so much last year, 170 strikeouts. He hit
Yep.
240. He was my second round pick, if I remember correctly. Um, he didn't replicate his I don't know.
Yes, he was your second round
Everything.
pick.
All the bad things that I could say about someone who was supposed to be a stalwart and um completely consistent. His strikeout to walk ratio just completely like imploded from 21 to 22. So I'm out on this guy this early. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. He's a time bomb.
Yeah. All right. You ready for round four?
Let's do it.
All right. Luis Robert, an enigma going into this draft at 49. Jazz Chisholm, 50. Carlos Rodon, 51. Will Smith, the catcher, 52. Julio Urias, his teammate, 53. Zach Wheeler and Max Scherzer, 54 and 55. Ozzy Albies, another second baseman at 56. Felix Bautista, the closer for the Orioles at 57. Raisel Iglesias, 58. Shane Bieber, 59. Adolis Garcia, who I'm very curious your thoughts about him, at 60. Is that it? No, sorry, I can't do math. Ryan Helsley, 61. Kyle Schwarber, 62. Adley Rutschman, 63. And Salvador Perez, 64. So that is round four. What stands out to you in this round?
A lot. This is
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack in this round.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying, and I made this clear to our little group here. I am not buying in on Salvador Perez. I don't believe in him. I think he's on the wrong side of 30, and I think injuries are going to play a role in him. I'm out on Salvador Perez. I will.
Mm.
I will. If all the other catchers are off the board and I have to wait for, I don't know, you know, someone lower, I will. I am out on Salvador Perez.
So what was 2021? Was it just a bizarre like blip that's like like what was that 48 home runs, 121 RBI season?
Right. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he had help. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we've never seen a season like that from before from a catcher, let alone from this catcher.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe he's making up for 2019 when everybody else was juicing the ball. And he didn't play in 2019 because he was injured all year.
Right.
Um, yeah, I
Look,
don't know.
he hit 27 home runs in 2018, 27 in 2017, 23 home runs last year. Like these are still good numbers for a catcher.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. He has had an impressive run. I just think he's done. I don't want to say
Wow,
he's done,
done.
but he's not done, but he's done as being a top tier catcher for me.
Interesting.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, and I made this bet. I will take William Contreras over or Wilson Contreras over Salvador Perez.
Okay. So
100%.
Wilson Contreras belongs ahead of Perez.
In my humble
Okay.
opinion, absolutely.
Okay. But Will Smith is still above those two?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You can make a case, honestly, that Will Smith could be the best catcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Like I think you can make an argument, and the fact that like they're so widespread apart in this listing between him and Real Muto
Yeah.
is pretty interesting. Like if I see somebody drafting Real Muto, I might take Will Smith as my next pick. Like just so I know that I'm getting one of the two best catchers in baseball and be done with it.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And because you if you don't get one of these top two, or if you want to count Dalton Varsho as three catchers, one may argue that you might as well just wait,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
I mean, Rutschman could be huge, but again,
could
he's
be.
the unknown. It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Like, can he carry a full season? I don't know. Um,
Right.
is he worth a shot is he worth a shot in the back end of the fourth round? Probably,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know,
Maybe.
but I can understand it. I don't know if I would do it, but I can understand it.
Yeah. I agree. We're seeing a bunch of closers go in this round as well. With the names of Felix Bautista, Raisel Iglesias, and Ryan Helsley. Um, Sort of all over the map, but like Iglesias has been doing this for a while. Bautista is new to the game, and Ryan Helsley came out of nowhere to be completely dominant and electric last year. So, do you think this order is correct? Bautista first, and then Iglesias, and then Helsley?
It's a really interesting grouping there.
Yeah,
I think people are really high on the Orioles for good reason. I mean, the team is looking very exciting
yeah,
going into 2023. So, and Felix Bautista is a big reason why.
yeah.
Um,
The
I
new
think
King
I
Felix.
would probably yeah, exactly, new King Felix. Maybe he's Prince Felix. I don't know. Um,
Could
I,
be, yeah.
I I probably would go with Iglesias over them just
Okay,
because he's more established. He's on a more a team that's more expected to win
yeah,
in Atlanta. Um, and he all right. He's done this longer. Helsley probably has the best stuff of all three of them. I mean, his like he throws 100 miles an hour like it's nothing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I take the proven established Iglesias, but I can understand going in any order.
yeah. Yeah, me too. Um, Two big question marks in this round for me. Um, and then we can pick our reaches and steals. But Adolis Garcia won, and Kyle Schwarber, the second mystery. I know you had Schwarber last year, so is this a guy that you would draft again, especially at this ADP at the end of the fourth round?
He was so like frustrating to
Yes.
have because like and I drafted him in what the seventh round last year.
Okay.
Um, so like I was okay with that with what I got from him in the seventh round, like because I mean the power is real, but like and there were times where like he would still steal a base, and I was like over the moon because like Kyle
10
Schwarber stealing
steals.
a base, like that's
Yeah.
that's gravy. Um,
But
but
there were
it's
also times last year where you were trying to get rid of this guy.
yes, because I just the strikeouts and the lack of batting average and on base percentage it just was really really painful to watch. And I also know, sometimes I feel like he's an injury waiting to happen. So like, he actually played like a good part of the, I think the whole season. I don't know if he missed any games, but um,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, he, yeah.
No, I mean
So
577 at bats is yeah.
it's a full season, right? So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
um, honestly, of this group, in this round of players that I owned, my bigger question mark is Luis Robert. I After last year, I am not taking him the top of this round. Not a chance. Uh, he's my Matt Olson. like,
Got it.
and even when he was on the field, he wasn't all that good. And that another bust for me last year.
Mm.
You can keep Luis Robert.
So I'll take him, you take Eloy later. We can just flip-flop because
Done.
that's how I feel about Eloy. So um we're talking a lot about the White Sox tonight. All right, and then finally, real quick, Adolis Garcia, who has proven it now a couple of years in a row. And Jason, I still don't believe it. I don't know why, but I still don't believe it.
I can't either. And I don't know if it's because like Ben just found this guy like laying by the beach somewhere and said, "Hey, come play on my fantasy team," and then he went off. Like I don't know if that's why, but like yeah, but like he's done it 2 years now.
Yeah,
Where the power and the speed are real. Like
they are. They
I
are.
mean, yeah, he's a 300 on base is kind of lousy. But if you can stomach that in the 183 strikeouts, if you can stomach that, that power speed combo is legit. And in that
It-
lineup,
yeah. Yeah. I
uh,
mean,
I, I I I could be tempted. And like, yeah,
the numbers are there,
he
Jason, but I don't believe it, and I don't know why. I don't get it.
and he has center field and right field eligibility.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
nice.
like,
Pretty nice.
yeah, so it's not just he got multiple eligibility. I was certainly, if he's hanging around there in this part of the draft, I could be tempted.
Okay,
I could be tempted.
that's
Yeah.
fair. All right. So I think I know your answer to the biggest reach because you just kind of mentioned Luis Robert. Is that sort of what you're thinking here?
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
mean,
that's the
Salvador.
first pick of round 4. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's not him, it's Salvador Perez, but he's on the back end of the fourth round. I
okay,
Top of the fourth round for Luis Robert for me is way too high.
okay, all
I mean,
right.
there's upside there for sure. If he's healthy, he can certainly put up a fantastic season. But call me jaded. I'm out on him.
I'm gonna call you Jason, but
Okay, appreciate
call you.
that.
All right. Biggest steal. Who would you absolutely love to take at this ADP?
Ah,
I've got two names
that's
in
a.
mind, so I'm curious about who you're gonna say.
I think Julio Urias is a very interesting pick here in the fourth round. I think he's still flying under the radar. Like he's a 20 game winner on one of the best teams in baseball. Like there's no reason for it that he can't do that again.
Hmm?
There's no reason he can't win a Cy Young award. Uh, if I'm getting him in the fourth round, like if I missed out on Alcantara and Degrom and all those other guys, I'm happy with Urias as my number one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as in to get your SP1 in the middle of fourth round with this much upside, I feel like is
And by
definitely
the way, that could be the case with Wheeler and Scherzer too. Like
yeah.
any of those guys could be
Oh,
your
and
SP
Shane
one. Shane
Bieber.
Bieber also, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some SP1s here that if you're getting them in the fourth round, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. And we didn't even really talk about Verlander as like the last pick of the third round. If you can get him
Yeah,
there, that's another SP1.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess the bigger question then is why spend on Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole, and or who else was up there? Spencer
Alcantara,
Strider,
Manchester Strider, Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease when you have these other options 2 rounds later. But you know what? Some could argue it because these guys have done it year after year, and Garrett Cole is a workhorse and can win 20
But would you
games. Like,
really? But like, would you really be comfortable taking Dylan Cease over, you know, Urias or
no,
any, Shane Bieber, right?
absolutely not.
I can't I
Yeah,
can't see it. I
no,
can't.
I can't either. I agree with you. My biggest steal here, I think, is Ozzy Albies. I think people forgot about who he was 2 years ago before he got hurt. Um, and he's cemented at the top of that lineup. Acuna's back. He's got plenty of protection with Austin Riley hitting behind him. Like, I think Ozzy Albies here is a really big steal, especially if you, given how thin second base is, and if you
Yeah.
don't want to take that really, really high price for Altuve and Semien, I think you can get something just as good down here at a discount because of what happened to him last year. So that's going to be my steal of this round.
I like it. I like it.
I know you hate the
And
team.
who's your reach?
Oh, my reach. Oh man, I can I say Adolis Garcia? I just don't believe it yet. Don't believe it. Sorry.
What would it take for you to believe?
It would take him cutting down on those strikeouts and walking a bit more to up that on base percentage. And if he does that with the power speed combo, I'll absolutely draft him in the second or third round next year.
Yeah, if he has the same power speed combo and does what you just said, cuts down on those strikeouts and increases the walk, I mean, you're talking, Mike Trout territory with
Yeah.
with this guy.
Yeah.
Like he's got that much upside.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Trout plus speed. Like that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's flip over to round 5 here. We've got Kevin Gausman, Kenley Jansen, who wow, that's very high. Kenley Jansen, 66, Camilo Doval, 67, Luis Castillo, 68, Alek Manoah, 69. Woohoo. Corey Seager, 70, Corbin Carroll, 71, Teoscar
Wow.
Hernandez, 72, Max Fried, 73, Zach Gallen, 74, Christian Javier, which a lot of people are very high on this year, 75, Tommy Edmond, 76, O'Neill Cruz, 77, Starling Marte, 78, Dansby Swanson, 79, and Trevor Story at 80. So that would round out. But we know Trevor
Well,
Story will not be playing.
yeah, that's gonna change.
So maybe we bump that up to Joe Musgrove at 80.
Fair.
Um,
I like that.
all right. So thoughts on round 5 here.
Yeah.
Some interesting names
Again,
thrown in here.
yeah. Guys, again, that like maybe not as much, but like you would still feel okay having them be your SP1, like Max Fried or Alec Manoa. Like those aren't terrible SP1s. They're not
No,
they're not
I take
quite
it.
yet not quite the echelon, but like you're still okay. You're still okay if those are your SP1s.
Zach Gallen.
Um yeah, Zach Gallen. Kevin Gossman,
Kevin
like
Gaussen.
yeah. There's and shortstops are coming off the board in this round here, right? With what Seager, Cruz, Swanson, Tommy
Yeah.
Edmond. Like you got
Yeah.
some shortstops coming off the board here.
Yep. Yep. Um, interesting names like Corbin Carroll, who's just an unproven talent. I know he's very highly touted, and I know he's on a really young, exciting Diamondbacks team. But my question, I guess, is what has this kid done that Jake McCarthy hasn't done? And how come there's this gigantic gap between him and McCarthy here?
I that's a fantastic question. I don't know. I definitely feel like the Diamondbacks are the National League's Orioles.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
they're kind,
Great
they're
comp.
kind of the sexy pick.
Yeah.
The problem is for both teams is they play in stacked divisions. Like the NL West and the AL East are really tough divisions for these sexy picks to really thrive in.
Yeah.
Um, Corbin Carroll, I mean, he's slated to lead off for the Diamondbacks, whereas at least according to roster resource, whereas right now, and Jake McCarthy's hitting third. So like, yeah, take your choice of them. I don't know what makes one better than the other.
Yeah,
They
obviously
seem like
the experts here are like, you know, sort of unanimously above and beyond with Carroll versus McCarthy. But
I mean, just to give you a glimpse, Jake McCarthy is going 129th.
yeah,
Like so, yeah. So what and what's Carroll's going what? What is it,
70,
71? So
70.
yeah.
Is there an
So
age gap there? Is that what it is?
I mean, no.
No.
What are their, let's see, what's their ages? Carroll is 22, McCarthy is 25.
Okay. But okay.
I, I mean, they were drafted a year apart.
Yeah, and this isn't a dynasty league. This is a redraft. Like we
Yeah.
want him for one season. Like I don't see the huge
So
difference here. But
yeah, probably a little high for Corbin Carroll. I think I ended up with him towards the end of the year, and he was decent. He was good,
it
but
was
like,
good. But if anything, we have
yeah,
a bigger sample size from McCarthy. So
yeah, yeah. And there's guys down, more established, lower down on this list that we haven't even touched yet. That
yeah.
probably I feel more comfortable drafting ahead of this kid.
Oh, Starling Marte at 78. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, Teoscar Hernandez is right behind Carroll. I would take Teoscar Hernandez all day over Corbin Carroll right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Um, do you think is this where we draw the line between SP1 and SP2? Like is Zach Gallen to Christian Javier? Is that sort of like the line? Or is Joe Musgrove also an SP1? Like,
I don't think I'm ready to call Joe Musgrove an SP1.
okay.
I like I he could be. He could be. I'm not ready to say that he is just yet.
So in your like
Like
ideal draft scenario, Joe Musgrove would be a 2 for you.
I don't and I think Gallon and Javier probably also. I don't know
Okay.
if I'm ready to call them a one yet either.
So maybe
I
the
could see
line for
I
you
could
is
see
Max Fried and Zach Allen.
yeah.
Okay.
Like I could see Gallon and Javier being SP1 and Musgrove. I'm not ready to say that they are just yet. Max Fried would be like that would be like the last SP1 to me.
Okay. Cool.